Whoa, bro. Looking good, man. You working out? You lost weight? Wow. Great suit, by the way. You working out, man? You're looking good. That's a nice suit. What is that? What is that made of? You know, velour? What, a silk robe?
Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me.
Rolling up, I'm feeling fly, yeah, I'm so damn fresh. Got that platinum grill, blinging in the chest. Diamonds in my mouth, shining when I speak. That umbrella guy, flossing speaking geek. Ice on my teeth, I'm dripping so hard. Platinum grills, I'm the king of the boulevard. Throwing money in the club, making haters mad. I'm the baddest in the game, no one gets a pass. Ooh yeah. Crushing all these lines, yeah, I feel fly. Rolling on the dubs, that umbrella guy. Iced out pro on the boulevard. You ain't a comic gangster, don't be playing hard. Ice on my teeth, I'm flying so high. Dropping the bass, that umbrella guy. One drill to rule them all, one drill to bind them. Baby, I'm so iced out, gonna blind them. Rolling in town, I'm an army of one. Doing verbal walk-bys, blazing like the sun. Riding in my whip, crushing false accusers. Dropping off the bass on the real abusers. Yeah. Living life fast, no time for the slow. Justice on my mind, stacking up on that flow. Life in the fast lane, no time to blink. Ice on my teeth, watch it when I speak. Chillin' on my rhymes, never missing a beat. Ice on my teeth, yeah, I'm living that sweet. That umbrella guy, bringing the platinum heat. Crushing every hater, no time for defeat. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, indeed. How's it going, all you wonderful folks today? By the way, notice this right off the bat. Renee, what's up, Renee? I'm in a good mood today. What's up? Thanks for the 5 gifted memberships there. Appreciate you. Sue, where are you? I'm sorry, I don't know what's up with me. I'm just in a good mood today. Got a holiday coming up. It was an interesting day today. Fun times, you know, all kinds of good stuff happening. But thank you for the 5 gifted memberships on there, too. Audrey, thanks for the 2 months there. Thank you for all you do. Positive vibes to all, indeed. Very many positives, you know. I got thinking about that today. I was like, there are people out there that will always try to snatch your joy away because they are miserable pieces of garbage. Never let them do it. Laugh at stupid people always. Thank you. And Fallen Hero. What's up, Fallen Hero? Good to see you again. Thank you for the gifted membership, too. Feeling it. One more. Thank you, Audrey, too. Thank you also for a gifted membership as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for the positivity and for that. I'm glad to see it fall in. So I hope everybody's doing good today. I usually don't do Fridays, but I didn't do a live stream yesterday, and my God, you know, there had been so much self-owning out there by Laura Owens at first that I'd focused on that for a little while. But now it's not just self-owning. It's also media picking up. I mean, today we've had, so I want to review the Radar Online thing. First of all, I did not get to review that the other day, where Laura Owens talked about how, or her quote unquote father said that it was anti-Semitic to call somebody a pest and because of that, which was hilarious considering Megan started posting about that, being like, you guys changed your name and celebrate Christmas and everything. How would he even know that about you? And I thought, well, that's true. You know, also, do you know what the ramifications of saying that are? I mean, anyone that ever calls another person a sex pest or something like that, they're anti-Semite now? Are you kidding me? I mean, oh, wild stuff though. That one we had the media actually cover video-wise. Oh man, and we also had Megan drop an article today. A pretty good one talking about not just Clayton, because Clayton isn't the only victim out there. There's also another one. And that is very true too. So, today should be an interesting show. Let me hit 4 more super chats I see here. Cindy, thanks for the 2. Glad to make it live. Well, I'm glad you're here, by the way. They're always more fun live. You know, I enjoy the live stream live. That's how you need to take it in. I'm not saying don't watch it after. Watch it after too. But if you can make the live, they're always better that way. Give me 1 second. I lost the chat for a minute. YouTube is being so weird lately. There we go. I got the chat back. Woo! I lost it for a minute. I was like, what's going on? Stick Print Paint, thanks for the 10 there. Hey, Tug, I'm back from Airbrush Factory in Germany, sorting out the goodies for me and the ones I'm sending to Lug next week. Oh, that's awesome, man. Appreciate you, by the way. Props on that certain B-Day. Props to you. Melissa, thank you for the month. No statement attached to that. Plenty of statement. Thank you. Suzanne, thanks for the 20 there. Love the news and how you share it. Laura Owens is such a poop show. Indeed, indeed. You know what's funny? When we're talking about news too, I'll pull this up. Let me reframe this. Give me 1 second. I got to actually focus in on this. If you're wondering why it takes me a minute to do that, the way StreamYards works, just to note, any creator out there, this is an interesting lesson. If you go in, you have a share tab, but if you pull up something beforehand, it full screens and doesn't allow you much control over it. But if you take StreamYards, you go to share it, lock in on it, then open it up, then you get this wonderfully controllable setup where you can actually see volume and everything else. It's much better that way. So that's, I always like to turn closed captioning on and everything. So that's why it takes a hot minute there. Let me see, 2 more. Melinda, what's up, Melinda? Saw that super sticker come in. Thank you for the $1.49 super sticker. Appreciate that. Thank you. And Steph, thanks for the 14 months. Thanks for the Friday stream, Tug. Yeah, you're welcome. Appreciate you. Like I said, I usually don't do Fridays. I'm just feeling good today. So I want you to check this out first. This is entitled "The Bachelor Star Wins Arizona Paternity Suit." And like I said, it's good to see media pick this up. Again, I have real problems with media. I can get on that soapbox anytime. But to reach the normie crowd, you have to have media pick something up. Until we get to the point where independent media is pushed enough, we have to have the normies out there pick it up from other places. And when you see this, I mean, you're talking about, on regular news. So, I mean, that's big time there. By the way, Sandra, saw that come in. Thank you for another gifted membership. I love watching this fall in. I love seeing people get, people, they feel good. And it really rewards people for live. Like I said, it makes community feel. I love that stuff. So thank you all. So here we go. Check this out.
Lynn's thanks. For the past year, a man previously known to the world as the Bachelor has been fighting a paternity suit here in the Valley. Last May, a woman accused Clayton Echard of getting her pregnant and then filed a suit and shared her story publicly.
Well, this month, a judge ruled in Echard's favor, and in an unprecedented ruling, she's also asked the county attorney's office to investigate the woman for possible criminal charges.
12 News.
That's wild to see added in, by the way. You know, like they said, in an unprecedented move. I mean, you think about that. I really want people to drink that in. Like, why we keep talking about this stuff? Because you want more and more people to understand it, number one. But also, number two, stuff doesn't typically go beyond. If you got justice, typically you don't even get past the case dismissed portion. If you would have gotten to that, that was a win. But not really, because it would have allowed Laura Owens to continue doing other things. Her getting called out, that was a huge win. But something you don't ever see, and it's unprecedented, is someone in a paternity suit that has gone in and just done so many whacked out things that they are forwarded for prosecution.
News journalist Bianca Bono sat down with Echard. And Bianca, you learned this is not the first time that this woman has made similar accusations.
Yeah, Mark Rebe.
So you also have the normie crowd being told, no, this isn't just about a paternity suit, by the way. And it isn't just unprecedented because it's going over and you might actually see some ramification for it, but she's done this before. Holy dos mio. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh. You don't expect to see it. I expected some art. The way the media was just close-lipped about this, I expected a few articles maybe, but I didn't expect hey, what about these other guys too? So that's amazing to see.
That's right. We've obtained court records not only from Echard's case, but from another case out of Maricopa County. Ooh. Echard was the star of season 26 of The Bachelor. He said these allegations had a tremendous impact on him both personally and professionally, and finally he feels a sense of relief.
Oh my gosh, okay. Yes, I love it.
It's been 2 years since Clayton Echard starred as The Bachelor. Following a breakup after the show ended, the Missouri native moved to the Valley.
It's a very active community, a melting pot of people from all over.
What I want to say, too, on this, while we're getting into him, you know, one of the great benefits for Clayton Echard is he's been on prime TV. You know, he's been out there scrutinized, had everything about him scrutinized before, and he's not just photogenic. He's also very charismatic. He carries himself. He's got good wit. He knows what he should or shouldn't say. You know, he's 2 years, like they said, away from that. So he's learned a lot. He's learned a lot with the case, too. He's learned about what you should or shouldn't say. So these interviews, if you'll notice his interviews, they get better as he goes along. You know, they're gonna do an interview. They're gonna put out a little bit, but they're gonna leave a lot on the cutting room floor. So he's been pretty good about knowing what to bring up. I think that really short court case actually probably helps with that too, because he had to condense everything in his mind and be able to tell it very briefly and very succinctly.
Over the country. I just loved the entire atmosphere.
But life over the past year for this former TV star has felt more like a movie.
Either I'm dealing with one of the most craziest individuals that I've ever met, or I'm dealing with someone who's telling the truth.
In May of last year, shortly after Echard obtained his real estate license, he received a message on LinkedIn from a prospective client, Laura Owens. Their conversations turned flirtatious.
Notice, by the way, it used her name. No more of the nameless. And again, when I say that, be very clear. I'm not taking shots. And I understand why people like Dave Neal did not mention her. And I get it. But no more having to hide it under a rock anymore. I bet Dave feels good about that. Everybody else feels good about that, because it's not just in the court filings. I mean, it's everywhere. I would love to see, by the way, interviews with Dave Neal. Talking about Dave Neal went through, again, you know, the story. This is about Clayton Echard, but Dave Neal has his own story within this too, because this person targeted him not just in the normal route through social media, but they targeted him in real life as well, tried to silence him.
And she ended up coming over to his house.
Some things happened, but there was no sexual intercourse. The next day when I told her that was a mistake, and this can't be anything more than what that was, she began to cry, and I realized at that point something felt off.
11 days later, Owens told Echard she was pregnant.
I couldn't believe it just because, again, what occurred that night, I said, there's no way that this actually happened.
Echard wanted to see an ultrasound, and if pregnancy was confirmed, he wanted a paternity test.
She drafted up an actual dating contract that she typed up that basically said, date me for a week, and if you do and it doesn't work out, then I'll have an abortion. But if you don't date me, I'm having this child.
Owens would ultimately tell Echard.
I mean, that's crazy. You know, again, just... You know the story, but think about this given to people that have never heard this. You know, we put up, here's some dating contract stuff. Oh, hashtag yikes. I also noticed, by the way, David's been very quiet lately. Strange, isn't it? Mr. Gangris has been very, very quiet. I know he's on, quote-unquote, vacation. Bad internet, but that didn't keep him from commenting over and over again and writing blogs and stuff. But he's been quiet lately.
She was actually pregnant with twins, sending him this email. Here is my 100,000,000% real ultrasound video. Echard said he and his legal team would later learn the ultrasound stemmed from a years-old YouTube video.
She was doing whatever she could to get me to come back and believe her.
But Echard didn't, so in August, Owens filed a paternity suit.
I mean, that's crazy too. Again, you know what's messed up about this? He's able to describe this. Again, it's very succinct, right? You have blow by blow, like boom, 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 boom. But a judge couldn't follow this. What you mean it's old? I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? A judge buried him. I'm talking about the protective order judge. Could not follow that same... it just drives me nuts thinking about it. I mean, when you really think about how out of touch that is, it was very, very out of touch. I'm glad we got to see Judge Mata in there. You know, Judge Mata that understood what happened. But still, we have that lingering piece because, well, Duty, he couldn't get on. He couldn't get off the pot, I suppose. That sounds gross.
And went public with her accusations.
It was guilty till proven innocent. Everyone online was saying, yep, this is the guy that we saw on The Bachelor. Terrible person. You know, makes sense. This tracks. And then professionally, I lost a lot of speaking engagements.
But it was shortly after Owens went public that Echard came to know he wasn't alone, learning of other men who also received paternity claims from Owens.
I realized that I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I'm fighting for these previous men.
Echard eventually got a paternity test, and court records show the results showed little to no fetal DNA. During a November hearing, Owens testified she had just recently seen her doctor and confirmed she was 100% pregnant and 24 weeks along. But a second paternity test weeks later again showed little to no fetal DNA. Owens then claimed she miscarried, filing a motion to dismiss her suit.
We jumped a lot of ground. Again, they want to do this fast, you know. But they jumped a lot of ground there. You know, it sounds crazy enough. They do well briefly summarizing something and telling you, look how whacked out this is. I mean, this person has done this to other people. So, I think it really drills in. There's some other stuff. What I really hope is you see a mini series about this or something. You know, a channel picks this up. Because it is absolutely bonkers. This should be a 4 to 6 part freaking mini series, just to be honest. You know, we've seen it with, there's been enough material over time that you could easily fill that up. You know, do some interviews with Echard, maybe get some interviews with Gangris, which would be great. And Owens, oh, that would be fun. Maybe they could talk about the falling off the horse video. Oh, man. Anyway, continue.
But Echard's legal team wanted to continue.
Her story is just made up at this point. It's just a lie after lie after lie.
Just last week, Judge Julie Mata issuing a stunning 19-page ruling, finding Owens knowingly presented a false claim, ordering she pay Echard's legal fees. Mata went on to say Owens has a pattern of similar, if not identical, behavior in his...
You notice that. I think that is so telling. Like, again, a normie crowd, when they see this, you know, people that, it's not just they're not familiar with this case. When I say a normie, I'm talking about people that maybe they're parked on Facebook, you know, they look at, they share pictures of the family and, you know, their cats and stuff like that, which is nothing wrong with that. If that's your speed, awesome. In fact, like, social media can be a crazy place to be sometimes, for sure. Sometimes it can be a very stressful place too, but you have to have somebody that deciphers this for you, you know. And again, they're tuning in to the mainstream still. And when people see this order, they note what actually is here, and they see, you know, the pattern of similar, if not identical, behavior and court involvement, referring this matter to Maricopa County Attorney's Office for review of Laura Owens pursuant to, you know, and they give the reasoning for that. I mean, when they go over that portion and they highlight it, I think that's, yeah, that makes a good point.
Behavior and is referring her actions to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for review.
We are actually at a place now where she may face criminal prosecution, which she should, because she's been doing this for almost 10 years.
This week,
Damn, Clayton, I'm glad you have finally come over to the dark side. No, for real. You've come over to the side where you understand people have got to get to this point with folks like this. When people get into your lives and they start trying to ruin your fucking life, you've got to set aside any nicety. It takes a long time to get to that place, you know? Because does she need mental health help? Yeah, but she understands. She has the ability to differentiate right from wrong. She very much does. Now, I'm hoping that they will move forward with litigation. The thing is, you never know. You never know. But, God, with so many victims, if you get press covering it and it still stays out there, it still stays relevant in some way. That's why I think people need to talk about the other victims too, you know, and really deep dive what happened with them as well. That means it doesn't get forgotten, because I would say that the legal system moves at a snail's pace. Yeah, that's an insult to snails, because it moves much slower. Reminds me of like a sloth frozen on a tree, you know. It can move, but it's very slow to move sometimes. So we'll see.
Owens published a blog post in response to the ruling, saying the evidence she presented was deemed meaningless by the judge, and the only reason the judge allowed the case to continue after she was no longer pregnant was because of Echard's high-profile status.
If I could press a button and go back and erase all this, would I? And the answer is no. Because what I've learned through this entire process made me a person that I'm so extremely proud of.
As for Echard, he's...
Not only that, I mean, ultimately, like he said before, he said that this wasn't just about himself. It was about other victims as well. And, you know, it's very difficult to stand up. It's very difficult to face the adversity. I was looking for the right word with that. But it's very difficult because, you know, there are challenges in that. I mean, it's easy just to go along. It's easy to be stuck in the mud as it is, you know, or to have let her just walk away. But that's not right. So I'm glad to hear that from him. I think, you know, again, his interviews, it's not saying anything negative about other interviews either. I think he's done extremely well. It's just you get to watch people in real time figure this stuff out for themselves. You know, it's a fascinating thing. It's a sad thing sometimes too. You know, when you hear these people talk about what they've been through and you watch, You watch all the pieces there, and you don't see their day to day. You see them change over time. They become stronger, they become more confident in it, and they become more resolute. But man, the stuff behind that, people trying to ruin you, it's not fun. It is not a fun thing at all. So props to him.
He's moving forward with his career in real estate and plans to launch a men's mental health podcast. But although this legal battle is now in his rearview mirror, it's not completely out of sight. Owens' attorney says they're pursuing an appeal.
If someone is not going to back down, then I'm not going to back down either until justice is served, until this individual stops.
Bam, too. He's like, hey, they want to go in, they want to appeal this. Game on then. Absolutely, 100% game on then. That's, you talk about, I think the decision there reinvigorated all the people that were tired too. I think the support also does that as well. When they see that they're not standing alone, I mean, that makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. I mean, he did this, which I thought was big time. He's gone to other outlets too. Like he went to Radar Online. This is actually what got some responses. This one. Give me a second. Let me pull this up under another browser. There's too many pop-ups. Thanks, Radar Online. Only 17 pop-ups. Wow, thank you. I understand why places do that, but come on, man. I got to at least see the freaking article. I couldn't even see it on there. Usually I don't block pop-ups on places that, if they're covering something that needs to be covered, I'll pull it up. But give me 1 minute here. I can't pull it up there. I can't freaking see it there. All right, here we go. 1 second. There we are. Bam. So this actually got an interesting response. I mentioned the beginning of it 2 days ago. Or rather, I take that back. This would be the very beginning, but the response to it. I mentioned the response where Clayton Echard, I kid you not, under Laura Owens' dad's account, whether it's him or someone else, I mean, I'll leave that for other smarter people to decide. But they said that pest and cockroach, that's what the Yahtzees did to the Jewish people. I was like, what? I also would like to point out with that, by the way, before we look at this, before I read that, that would mean Laura Owens and David Gingras are also Yahtzees by the same definition because they called all of us cockroaches. Going for that breadstick money. So just remember that. Just remember that. So I wanted to hit this because I didn't pull it up for that. I thought it would be good to add. Again, you're seeing media filing, so it won't go away. Former bachelor Clayton Echard claims ex-fling a quote-unquote pest and quote-unquote cockroach after paternity suit victory. What makes you a fling, by the way? I always think fling, I don't think one night stand. I always think of a fling being, brief, but that's really brief. That's really, really brief. But former bachelor Clayton Echard is finally speaking out about his victory in a paternity lawsuit brought from a former, when I saw hookup, when I read this first time, you ever read something really fast? I actually thought it said hooker. I was like, whoa, wait, what? I had to stop. I was like, wait, whoa, hookup. Okay, my bad. I really did think, I was like, are you got what? What did you say? Called a pest and a cockroach after she claimed the reality star impregnated her. RadarOnline.com can reveal. Laura Owens, the daughter of well-known San Francisco radio host Ron Owens. Remember, that's going to be the account that responded to this article, by the way, saying this stuff is anti-Semitic. Yahtzees. Sued Clayton last August in Maricopa County, Arizona, seeking child support for their purported unborn twins. The TV personality from Phoenix, however, denied ever having sexual intercourse with Laura and accused her of harassment and fabricating medical documents. Ultimately, last week, the judge agreed with his counterclaims and called the county prosecutor to charge Laura with 2 felonies. Now, on the Not Ashamed podcast Tuesday, the 2022 lead of The Bachelor told Ashley Nordman that he became consumed by stress over the case. You can imagine that, too. I wonder, how long is this, by the way? Give me 1 second. I'm going to click this. Just give me 1 second. I don't know if that's music or anything. Let me see. 23 minutes. Yeah, it does have a lot of music. I'm tempted to watch that. Here, I'm going to pull that back up. I'm tempted to watch it. What do y'all think? Should we watch that? Vote. Vote for it. Should we actually watch it? It's 23 minutes. We can. I was looking at it. Let me know. But I'm going to read this first. Because again, the headline is what got the response. It wasn't the podcast. Despite the ruling in his favor, he said the ordeal put him on edge, making it difficult to focus on his real estate business endeavors. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine wanting to go back to real estate like after that and the stressors you would face? I see a lot of yeses. So 23 minutes and oh, you people. That made me laugh. Oh, that's funny. We'll watch it then. I'm going to read this and watch it. Making it, I mean, think about it. Think about the stress. He says he's consumed by stress or had been. Of course you are, because you don't know what the outcome. I mean, again, everything turned out best case scenario, and hopefully he can get that freaking protective order dealt with. That pesky protective order. But, yeah, going back to real estate, I'd be terrified. I'd be terrified that, Owens, to be honest, I hope that Clayton is being safe, because I would be afraid that she might try to pop back up in his life. I would be terrified of that, to be honest. I know he's a big guy. I know that physically he can take care of himself, but man, I mean, yeah, you've seen the movies based on people like that. You've seen the, also, I'm sure you've seen enough real life tales, the Fatal Attraction types, and they're scary. They're absolutely, that's what this is. So I hope to God he's being careful. I don't mean to say that to be like alarmist or anything else. It's just, that's terrifying. So he said, though, I'm trying to show up for myself. I'm trying to show up for my team right now, but I'm already at the stress level where I'm like, if I could erase this, I could grow and build faster than what I am, Clayton explained. But I got this freaking pest that just won't go away. And I don't know how she continues to be able to just fly by the seat of her pants and not be held accountable. I feel that she's holding me back. And it's like, how much longer are you going to have this hold on me? It's like she's a cockroach that won't go away. She is. She's this pest. Now, what's amazing is the response to that commentary was saying again, oh, the man's an anti-Semite. He's some kind of monster. He's like a Yahtzee. He's like, no, she's like a cockroach. You know how bad cockroaches are. You get them in your home, they don't go away. She's this pest. What else? I mean, he's being nice with the word pest, to be honest. Because a cockroach may get in your home and, may infest it, but a cockroach can't get into legal activities and ruin it. Give me 1 second. I got a little kitty coming. Hey, girl, what you doing? Hey, what you doing, kid? Hey, can you close that door upstairs for me? Will you close the door upstairs for me? Yeah? Thank you. You watching shows? Yeah? Yeah? All right. Hey, close that door for me. I'm going to live stream for a little bit, and then... Huh? Do what? We'll get some more in a little bit then, okay? We'll do that.
I want mac and cheese.
No, we'll talk about that after there. Close the door for me, and then we will. We'll make some more. We'll make some more.
I want mac and cheese.
Okay, I hear you. The next day, it noted, Laura's dad posted a scathing rebuke to social media, declaring that Clayton called my daughter a pest and a cockroach and was not only offensive but anti-Semitic. These terms were used by the Yazis to dehumanize Jews, including my family during the Holocaust. He went on to ask us serious questions. If you don't believe Laura was pregnant, why'd you invite her to your apartment under false pretenses to take a pregnancy test you purchased, which came back positive? I think that defeats the entire thing right there. I think it answers your question. If you didn't believe she was pregnant, why would you tell her to take this pregnancy test? Well, that's him saying he doesn't believe you, by the way. I think that's self-explanatory. I mean, I could break it down into, I could pull up Microsoft Paint, draw you a picture of how that works, driving to the house, going in. Here's a stick, go pee on it. Oh, I got a shy bladder. Close the door, hang it out, throw it out the window, have a horse pee on. I mean, allegedly. That would be a very interesting picture, by the way. Mostly because I'm a terrible person at drawing, and that horse would definitely be something to see. And why did you say during your deposition that you would have told her anything to get her to have an abortion? Because she's fucking crazy. My God. You're hoping to God she will leave you alone. Would you want her attached to your life? I would. So then they go in, to everything about it, which I think is actually pretty good. That they decide to add this stuff in. Because they talk about the decision. I'm not going to go over all that. We'll pull up the thing in just a minute. I just wanted to make sure that people saw that. And also, during his podcast appearance, the Not Ashamed podcast, Clayton asked for other victims to come forward and reach out to me, adding, the strength is in numbers. Clayton's attorney told the Arizona Republic that she had a history of falsely claiming to be pregnant. What's up with the of all pictures? It looks like an OJ glove picture. I was like, what does that have to do? This works for him really well, though. In a lot of articles, they have people, when they show them, they'll use the best pictures of Laura Owens that they can. Well, thankfully, Clayton Echard, he's photogenic as well. They do that so much with offenders like this. So let me pull up that podcast. Give me 1 minute. Give me just a second to lock it in. Let's see, 23 minutes. 1 minute. And it came out 3 days ago. Actually, I've never watched the Not Ashamed podcast. I'm glad to see him out there talking about this case, too. But I'm locking it in. I'm getting past their music. Come on, get the music by. Music ends up... All right, here we go. There we are. I had to file past the music real fast. Give me 1 second. Locking it in. There we are. All right, now... I think that's got the music there. Closed captions. Bam. And we're good. Here we go. Man, I did that live. Boy, that took a hot minute. By the way, give me 1 second on this. I want to catch a couple of super chats. I've been trying, we have, close to 1,000 mil. It's manageable. I can hit super chats in there and keep things irrelevant there. Cindy Miles, thanks for 19 months. Sorry for the sound of the pick. I'm obsessed with Vampire Diaries. Hey, it's fun. It's awesome. So many people are sharing this. These liars need to be stopped. Indeed. Indeed. Audrey Little? Audrey Little, you hear my Silent Hill freaking ringtone go off. Give me a second here. I gotta mute it. Audrey Little, thanks for the $5. Better late than never. But they need to remember who put this on the front burner. Yes. They need to do Dave Neal. Dave Neal again. He needs all the credit there. I don't need any credit. I don't need any credit. Like when people throw me in there, I'm not. Man, Redditors, UFO, all these people did all this. I'm lucky enough that you folks show up and listen to me. That's all I need, you know. And if my voice goes further than that, great. But Dave Neal paid a price for that. He paid a real price. That's a horrible place to be. So I very much agree with that. And Megan picked this up and she covered this stuff and she covered it from go. And I think that's very important too. Yes, I very much agree with that. You know, I think Megan, you know, she put articles out there, and PJ Media, you know, when you see her articles too, one of the things it's important you show places that the amount of time she spent, you know, she didn't just spit out an easy to digest article. She put time into it to research. She connected with people. She helped find new things too. And she took all the details, all of you folks, Dave, everybody they found, and she made sure that she understood this. That meant she could only put out a few articles, you know, instead of, like I said, spitting out an article every 12 seconds like some places do. She put out something that was factual, and she got it right. So you reward that by going over to PJ Media and clicking those, you know. I agree, though. Thank you. Hey, what's up? Tug Sim, how you doing? Hot Taw. Thanks for the 2. Money for yogurt. Plus reading my new name is funny. Hot Taw. Indeed. Cunning Linguist, thanks for the 2. Well, she does resemble a lot, Lizard. And Lady Tammy, thanks for the 5 there. Mac and cheese money. I know, man. Gotta get on that mac and cheese. Exactly. All right, let's start this up here. Boom.
Who we are as a person and like the reputation we have, like that's everything. Mm-hmm. So it just makes you sick to your stomach when you feel like nobody sees you for who you really are.
Well, my line of work especially.
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship business.
Yeah.
Being in real estate.
And if people don't trust you, it's gone.
Every time that I talk to somebody and they seem super optimistic, yeah, I can't wait to work with you, Clayton, and then all of a sudden they go rogue, I always have the thought in my back of my head, is it because you Googled me?
Oh my God.
But I can't go say that.
That's traumatizing.
Or do I want to bring it up anyways? No, I didn't Google you. Why? Great, well now you're going to.
Yeah.
That's true too. You know, and before, there were enough, I'm not going to say negative articles. The Bachelor carries it carries its stigma. You know what kind of show that is. You have somebody out there that's promiscuous. You know, it's expected in these shows. But then the media is such hypocrisy. They go out and they're like, oh my God. You know, they take the prude angle. I've never understood that. I'm like, this is what you wanted. This is what this is what, you know, works for that type of entertainment. That's why that show has been on 1 million years, you know? But then on top of that, you had the craziness. I get the art, man. Hit pieces, crazy people that talk about people want to ruin your life and stuff. I get that, you know? And he has a very recognizable name. So that's much, much worse. I mean, I get what he's saying there. Continue.
And you just have constant anxiety wondering if people are judging you.
That's the thing is I'm like, I wish that I could click a button and just erase all of these articles, right? But
they're all there.
And again, if she's not held accountable, she will turn this into a TED Talk because she already told me she was going to do that at one point. And she's going to start speaking about how she got pregnant by the former bachelor. And she's going to turn this whole thing into it.
Now, it's not just she got pregnant by the former bachelor, by the way. It's her going out when she turns it into a TED Talk, or TEDx, TED Talk, whatever she turns it into. You got to remember, she may actually be able to leverage that into some real talk points, you know, going on to the prime stage. I mean, because Clayton Echard did have a name that is recognizable. And when she's doing that, she's not just going to say that she got pregnant. She's going to say deadbeat dad. She's going to talk about all these embarrassing details where she's going to try to ruin his life. I mean, you know exactly how that's going to go.
Why her TED Talk is still up baffles me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've been made aware.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you not taking it down?
Yeah.
Take down it. It's a lie. The whole story is based on a lie.
Because they don't care, Clayton. Clayton, they don't fucking care, buddy. Because ultimately, you're going against a societal talking point. You won. But winning doesn't guarantee they will ever... I mean... You got to think, the type of talking point you see here. I've mentioned this a few times. Think about how laws reflect. And if you're like, I don't agree with what you're about to say, that umbrella guy, I want you to consider this. Until 2013, the FBI did not consider in ARP that men could have that happen to them. When you look at laws, they are laws like violence against, it's not persons, it's women. So when you look at it, you're talking about a judicial and a societal talking point. And when she's out there going, I really was pregnant, it doesn't matter if you have a shit ton of evidence because they don't have the stones. That's why you got to shove the fucking truth in their face over and over again. That's why I like what he's doing, by the way. Because you have to. You have to be loud about it. The only way you change this shit is you confront it head on. You don't just stand up to it. You run through it.
Because people live for this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
like,
probably why it's up. Because people live for it.
It's like, and maybe I should reach out to him, but I'm just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You're letting a liar play the victim card, and you're platforming it. Mm-hmm. Like, shame on you. Like, you're supposed to be sharing stories that matter, not lies.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm like, it's pretty obvious to me. Like, all the evidence is out there, and people have told me, like, oh, we send them letters. They're just ignoring them. Why aren't you doing anything about it?
The other talking thing that should be brought up in that too. Once you notice that about what they share, how often does this happen? I know, of course, you're going to be told it never happens. It's so extremely rare. I mean, we're talking about finding the Loch Ness Monster baby, right? Is that true? Is that really true? I was told that about children and teachers, female teachers. Was that true? No. It wasn't rare. It happened a lot, apparently. And once you get past that, you start asking questions. And again, it's unfair. And I hope you hold the people that do this accountable. Because it's unfair to real people who have these things happen to them. Real people that have this happen to them, they embrace people who have been through the pain. They embrace them. They want to uplift victims. And unfortunately, you have these proverbial wolves in sheep's clothing. They work their way in. They're like, just like you. And they aren't. It's sad. And in places, they don't hold them accountable because they have to admit, another thing they have to do? They have to admit, instead of doubling down or leaving it as it is, they have to admit they were wrong. They did something wrong. They perpetrated, not just permitted, but perpetrated cancellation because they were destroying other victims out there. And they can get away with it because, this is my opinion there, because the victims are male. It's easier. Because that's a no-no to say. You'll get labeled terrible things when you say things like that.
Take down her videos. Chicken Soup for the Soul. She was published in that. Take Alfred.
Oh my God, they still have that?
Take out her excerpt.
Do you remember those books?
Yeah, but she got published apparently in it. It's like, take that out. Like, it's all based on lies.
Mm-hmm. You don't read that stuff online, do you?
I was reading everything at one point because
my gosh, you can't do that.
I know. Well,
okay, so this is the difference. I actually like this included too. This is the difference between a Clayton Echard and a Laura Owens. Clayton Echard is saying, he's talking about growth here. He's talking about he read it all at one time. And it's very easy to do that. When you have somebody that is an abuser, a manipulator, a monster, you want to look at what they do. Because they're going after you all the time, and they're trying to ruin you. But you have to ultimately learn to lock it away in a little piece of your mind. You can never leave it behind. It doesn't go away. And this is the ugliness. Anybody that has never been stalked, harassed, like when you listen, this is stalking. This is what it looks like. You live with fear, but you have to learn how to live. And Clayton, as the survivor in this, that's what it would be. I mean, again, they drug him through. They tried to ruin his fucking life. They could have put him in jail. Jesus. Like, think about what she could have done to him. Look at what her other fucking victims went through. He learned, though, not to look all the time. But that perpetrator can't take it. The perpetrator, they still continue. They continue to do it. They continue to read every single word. They fixate on it. And they ultimately blame all of those actions on one Clayton Echard. It's so interesting and scary, too. But it's fascinating when you look at the parallels to behavior at first. You know, you have a perpetrator and a victim. But that victim, when they get into that more survivor mode, they understand they have to move on. You can't let someone paralyze you in fear. But that perpetrator, man, they never fucking stop.
I had to stop, but
You can't do that.
But I still get sent it. People still send it to me.
And you open it and read it?
Well, I curiosity. I try not to, but like.
That's one thing you got to do. Set some boundaries. You can't read that stuff.
Well, you can't help it either. Okay, for like Twitter, for example. If somebody, and again, this is nothing at anybody. I'm not saying anything negative. I know people, they try to be helpful with anything. But okay, if somebody sends you something, like say a screenshot of somebody saying something, it's right there. There's no header on it or anything. And a lot of other social media is like that too. You know, if you open up a page on somewhere, like email at least has a header. But other stuff doesn't. You're just confronted with it. And yeah, even with a header, you're going to be very curious. And sometimes you have to confront that. Like Clayton was in court. He had to confront it too. You have to be you can never move on totally. Again, it's a insane place to be because you have to figure out how to lock this stuff away and move on. But you can't move totally on. You know, you're still locked into it. It's a wild way to live. It's sad.
She's also, it's like right now, she got a new lawyer, and this lawyer thinks he's a funny guy. He calls himself the Conor McGregor of law. And he's just like this vile human being that just wants to stir up shit, I guess, just because he wants to get attention.
Yeah.
It's not just about attention, Clayton. I think he wanted to break you, buddy. I think he was hoping that if he broke you, you would go out, you'd say the wrong thing, you'd do the wrong thing, and they could be like, aha, Clayton Echard. And maybe your lawyer would drop you too. And maybe he could force other people to walk away as well. I mean, attention, possibly, but when you get into he's not a toddler, you know, a toddler, like a toddler, if they don't get positive attention, they'll go after attention any way they can. Positive, negative, it doesn't matter, right? This man is not a toddler. So he knows the difference between that. Maybe he does like the attention there. Maybe he thinks he's some kind of internet villain when he's like, but it has a purpose in your case, buddy. You know, he can distinguish when he's going after that. He also, I mean, it's so much. The reason I say that is because you have to recognize what these people are, and you have to recognize their motivations, because I think they're much, much worse than people recognize.
He's one of those people that wants attention, is my understanding.
And he's taking it on because he's like, cool, I can be in this case against the Bachelor.
I mean, again, it's like, I'm like, dude, do you understand that, like, you're trying to ruin me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a human being.
He don't give a fuck, dude. Many lawyers are like that too, buddy. You know, they say this. They say, everybody deserves representation. And I mean, that is true. At the same time, that is one of the biggest cop-out excuses that you will run across, because people will represent absolute monsters while saying, well, under the law indeed.
You're just trying to take this case on for fame, notoriety. You have no shame, but that's what she's got.
Well, I'm grateful that you opened up about this to me because this is
Yeah, dude, I am.
heavy. I don't even know how you deal with this, honestly.
I just scratched the surface. It's like, this is 11 months that I've been dealing with this.
Yeah, I saw that it's been like almost a year, and I'm like, I can't even imagine dealing with that
Yeah,
day
and
in and day out.
this is the details. I mean, there's just so much.
This is something I try to get across with other cases that take long. Like, a debt case is a great one, man. Imagine dealing with this for half a century. Imagine that. I mean, these people are talking about, you think about what you did in the last 11 months. Think about your life. I mean, really. Don't think about 11 months as just a number. Look at a calendar and look at the days in there. Look at the holidays and everything else that have happened in the last 11 months. And think about everything that you've done in the last 11 months. Now think about something casting a shadow over everything that you've done there. Something that is perhaps life ruinous. I mean, that is something.
In there again, like, it's just a lot. And so how am I supposed to function on a day-to-day basis?
How can you focus?
I can't get rid of it. So like now, any type of stress, I go over top. I just get knocked off, and I'm
because you're already on edge, like waking up.
Yeah.
So then one
Like,
little thing.
Today, I mean, like again, like I'm with this. I got this incredible team in real estate, and I've been starting to do cold calling. But cold calling's not fun.
Oh, I did it for years in a gym.
It's not fun. You know, it's not fun. Like you get
especially old leads and stuff where they're like, leave me alone, stop calling
take
me.
me off your list. I don't, like, who is it?
You mother effer.
Yeah.
They're like literally.
They're just bam, 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 bleep, 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 and like, but you get, you know, but they say, you know, make 200 calls and you'll get through to somebody.
Oh yeah.
So it's a numbers
game.
You just call.
That's why I love sales.
That's sales, right?
Yeah.
So normally, you know, I'm like, it is what it is. But like now my stress is already here. So if I get like 4 people telling me to F off, I'm like, I hit my limit for the day.
I'm done.
And then I'm like, I can't push through right now because I'm already right here.
I know.
And I'm trying to show up for my
People, I hope that he has professional help in this too. Because what you have to understand is that's okay to feel like that. Any of you that go through something, you have to understand that it's an okay way to feel. Most people imagine life like climbing a mountain. You're always trying to. It reminds me of The Price is Right. You remember that? I can't remember the game it was called, but they had like a little yodeling thing. It was like yodeling, yodeling, and you would climb up a mountain. But it was always at this angle. Some days you just got to get out of bed, man. Some days you give a little ground. Some days you're just walking a flat plateau. But what you're trying to do is always move forward, and it's okay. It is okay to be tripped up. It's okay over time to learn how to cope with things too. And it's okay to admit it. You know? It's okay to admit that you're having issues. Like Clayton sounds like, you know, of course he is. Yes, he won. But you know what happens in that too? You have an extreme conflict of emotion. Because you've been going through all this horrible shit. And it hits you like a ton of bricks. And it's still there. It doesn't replace all the horrible stuff. In fact, sometimes it messes you up even more. So it's good there. I hope that, you know, with him talking about it, him talking about mental health and actually addressing mental health needs, I think that's good. I think it's good that he's been opening up about the reality of this. Like I said, you know, I get flack all the time because I don't like to change topics. I like to talk about one thing for a while. And the reason I like that is because I will say story or I will say case, but really we're talking about Clayton Echard as a human being. And that's what people lose in this day and age. We flick the page so fast in this day and age. People go through horrific shit, but our new entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with this, not a judgment thing or anything, but our new entertainment, it has a cost. You know, like if you watch Lifetime shows, for example, you watch a 30-minute crime show, you realize every 30 minutes there are at least 2 lives that are destroyed in that. Whenever you start to think that way, it's crazy. Like, watch one of those crime blocks, that come up, and think about how many victims are there. And the perpetrator ruins their life too. Think about their family. How many lives are destroyed in a block of 30 minutes before we just flip to the next thing? If we really want to pursue justice, it's not a quick fix. But if you could actually change something at the end of it, you're not talking about just entertainment, flipping stories. You're talking about activism. That's how activism, I think, has to work in this day and age. You wake people up to problems. Enough of us wake up to a problem, we can fucking change it. And we can help people along the way.
Myself, I'm trying to show up for my team right now, but I'm already at this stress level where I'm like, I just need to get, like, if I could just erase this, I could grow and build faster than what I am. But I got this freaking just pest that just won't go away. And I don't know how she continues to be able to be able to fly by the seam of her pants and not be held accountable. But I'm like, can we get rid of this?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm asking for, like, people to blow the story up. I'm asking for, the other victims to come forward and, like, reach out to.
See, he's saying directly, I want this covered. He's also saying that I want people to blow this story up. It also clears his name. I mean, you think about how the media treated it at first. Even though he was going through this horrific shit, what did the media do? Even when they had proof, overwhelming proof, what did they do? They waited. They don't wait on anything else. If you think that's the way they work, I would refer you to something like what's going on right now. Karen Reed trial, for example. No matter what you think about that trial, if you've kept up with it, you look, media covers it day by day, minute by minute, second by second sometimes. They have tickers up about it and everything else. But they didn't with this. They let these fucking horrendous articles sit up there, and they had the potential to ruin this man. So yeah, this story blowing up. Now his name is searchable, and you'll find articles about that. And now, with more and more places using Laura Owens' name, she was complaining about the SEO, the search engine optimization. You're talking about what people find when they look for a name. Before, they would find things about, well, weirdly, when I first looked, I didn't find anything hardly. Then I started finding all this stuff about her podcast, and that was strange. I didn't find it at first. I didn't change anything. It was like, did somebody try to rig that? Not saying they did, but it was really strange. Now, in her blogs, she's complaining about the search engine. She's complaining about what people find. Because they're finally running across truth. So what he says there, he's telling you, yes, I want this covered. But he's right, too. That's how you don't just put the truth out there. You make sure people can find it. Truth means fuck all sometimes if no one can find it. Plus, every time you run into somebody, you don't want to have to be describing, oh yeah, he doesn't need to have to carry a court order in his pocket saying, actually, that was cleared up. Look, that lady right there, she was referred to prosecution. He shouldn't have to do that. He shouldn't have to wear around a shirt that has those results on it. But I mean, I'm sure it has to feel like that.
To me, because I'm trying to get, like, strength is in numbers.
Yes.
And I have, I have something that I have up my sleeve that I'm like, I have something that I'm waiting to release because if I need to, that's like a
on her.
Out to the world that will basically, I think, is like it's like my golden nugget. It's like, this is, if I'm trying to get a reaction, this is going to be it. I have something that I think is powerful enough that I don't.
This is a nuclear option, man. When you put it out there, it'll hit like a beast. I get that, man. I get that. You set on a nuclear option. Well, because he's been very nice about it. Now, some of it, I'm sure, is his lawyer being like, handled this stuff a certain way beforehand. But also, I mean, his personality, you've seen it in interviews. I mean, he tried to actually get this thing dismissed at first, but now he's talking about, look, she pushed him to this point. She pushed him and revealed to him that he wasn't alone. There were more victims in this too. And I agree with what he's saying too. There might be more people. I wonder. I mean, we know there's another one that hasn't spoke up, but I wonder how many more there are.
I don't want to use it because it's just more stuff that I have to take the time to do. But I'm like, if I need to go here, like if you're not held accountable, I'm going to go there and it's going to like incite a response.
Yeah.
And as it should. But like I'm holding on to this last little thing that I'm like, hopefully the court system does its job and I don't have to use it. But if I have to like deploy this, I'll deploy it. So, and I know I can't say much more than that. But,
That's okay.
But I have.
You don't have to.
I have another, plan of action. I just hope that I don't have to go that route because it's going to require more energy and it's going to require just me having to take more time out of than what I want to go that route.
I understand. So. Honestly, I relate.
That's amazing, though. I mean, he's already pre-planned his course of action because you hope the justice system, they will stop this. Because it's not just about, justice isn't just about accountability. It's about making someone stop. Again, and they don't do that very well, I imagine, like a lot of stuff that you go in and you do, when you record what's going on with law enforcement and you make them aware, maybe you get an order against somebody, whatever. They're not, they aren't really there to stop that stuff. It doesn't stop people. They're more like janitors that clean up afterward. Sometimes they can prevent something horrific, but hopefully the prosecutors with this, they can look at it and they can stop it. Because I'm telling you, if it keeps playing out, it can be scary. Again, I'm not trying to be dramatic in that either. I would worry about my safety. I really would. And if she's focused on having to deal with the district attorney and to deal with potential litigation, she's not focusing on Clayton Echard. And she's been fixated on him. I mean, again, if you don't think that's true, or a Mike Mancini or Greg Gillespie, you can see it in the Medium articles. You can see it in everything that Gingras put out. It wasn't just about her going out and trying to clear, or win a case. A lot of that was about punishment.
To this, so much more than you realize. But
well, I don't know, should I ask in what way?
Well, I mean, I get a lot of hate too. I have Reddit pages about me and all kinds of stuff. And right now it's just been like really messy with just drama with my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm dealing with like having to do drug testing and all kinds of things because there's claims that I'm on drugs and I'm not a fit mother. And so it's just like disgusting, I guess, seeing how people will go so low. And it's like, if you want to pull that card and like go there, I will, but I don't want to.
Right.
And like, you're like me, you're a good person. You don't want to like create drama. You don't want to ruin someone's life. Yeah. You don't want to ruin someone's reputation. You know what it's like being on the receiving end. So it's like, I don't want to have to be that person. But when you like force someone to put you there, it's like you're kind of having like the devil and angel. Like, do I keep...
What sucks is in their conversation they're having here too, there are monsters like are being described. There are monsters out there. We all know there are. We're dealing with accusation culture. Accusation culture is a nasty culture, by the way. Well, when you think about it, like with Clayton, the accusations were they're so bizarre, though. They're not, these aren't run-of-the-mill. This is off of a serial offender. Like, I don't think, even people who interview him, I don't think they get the gravity of this thing. Like, this ain't a one-and-done person. This isn't something, he had a one-off relationship. We're not talking about the breakdown of something over time, somebody that he's had any kind of connection with or a relationship that went sour, anything like that. He's not talking about that. He's talking about a person that focused on him. He had a very short tryst with. And the way that they handled rejection, it's scary. I mean, again, the potential for extremes in this is so far beyond, I think, what a lot of people, when they do their comparisons, people can relate to a point, but my God, you don't typically run into a serial offender that has targeted this many people and ruined them, by the way, has been successful. It's wild.
Keeping the bigger person here and just keep doing the right thing? Or do I finally get you to shut the hell up and like stand up for myself and like actually put my foot down? And that's like where I'm at right now, trying to decipher what I'm gonna do.
Do you think that it's always best to be the bigger person?
No.
That it's always the right outcome?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
I don't. I think you try to do that, but people... Here's a question. This comes up in all kinds of stuff. I'm just speaking as a person here. I know. You want, like, some people are like, always the high ground. Man, people will bury you on the fucking high ground. They will dig the high ground out from under you, and you can stand up there and you can say I have principle and everything else, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to be vocal. I don't even think that's not taking the high ground, but people decipher the bigger person as, you know, I wouldn't want to like trade slap fights, you know, online with, he shouldn't be writing Medium articles or anything else, but he should use every freaking legal avenue at his disposal. He shouldn't let her off the hook because he's being the quote unquote better person. That's what fucking people mean by that. Oh, she's just got a mental, she's fucking destroyed multiple people's lives in this. Like, at what point do we say, you know, action? It's amazing how people define, you know, that being the bigger person. He's being the bigger person in the fact that he's not out there saying defamatory things about somebody that did that. I mean, he could talk about Owens in many ways. He could make fun of her falling off horses or anything, but he didn't do that. Like that to me is definitely taking higher ground. But again, the way many people define that, they would be like, well, legally, this person, well, they have to be mentally unwell. They have to be this or that. Well, they need to be stopped. So.
Yeah. But it's because the right thing is the hard thing. It's easier for me to go low and do something shitty. But it's way harder to stick to what I know is the right thing to do. And I always know the truth comes out too. So it's like, maybe I don't win, but like I win because I'm still me. I go to sleep at night knowing I didn't do anything to hurt anybody, but I know they feel like shit and they go to bed at night and they can't feel that great about themselves because they know what they're doing to other people. And when... But
what if they don't feel bad? What if they
then they're soulless. They're not even someone I give a shit about, because if they don't feel bad for what they do to people, they're either actually mentally ill or they do not have a heart. So I don't care. You know what I mean?
But you do care. Like in this, they've made you care. We're not talking about random X person online that you can just ignore or something. We're talking about something that's more, again, this doesn't really, that part right there doesn't pertain to Clayton stuff. And the whole ignore them and they'll just go away, it doesn't work. Tried that. Went there. What'd they do? They got a protective order against him when he spoke. They've used tactics that are absolutely crazy. I mean, again, you know, nobody talks about the fake accounts. Nobody talks about the racism claim. Nobody talks about any of that. Like, most people have no idea. I would love to see Clayton sit down. I'd love to see an interview with Clayton, Megan, and Dave. I would love to see those folks sit down and have a serious interview where they could talk about everything there. That way you understand, you know, people really understand the gravity of this situation. Because again, I feel like you're talking about two different things in this too. This is just a random person that fixated on him. And yeah, what if they don't? It was like, well, then they're soulless or they're mentally ill. Well, that doesn't make anything better for you. They're not losing sleep over the fact that they got to expire. I wonder, when I look at this case, I wonder if they lose sleep because they didn't get what they wanted. You know, because they punish people when they don't sign off on dating contracts and stuff.
So
they're still suffering.
It's a loaded.
They're still suffering, even if they don't feel the pain of what they're doing.
Agree. Yeah,
they're suffering because people that vibrate at that low of a level are not happy. That's why they waste their energy trying to drag us down, because we're happy people. And we're successful and we're doing things.
Hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, and they it's pretty interesting, but psychologically they bring people down because they don't want to feel alone. And so that's why bullies bully. It's because they hurt, and so they try to pull people to their level.
Yeah, they project their own insecurities and problems onto you. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, when these people do this stuff to me, I don't take it personally because I know it's them, it's not me. But it gets really, really hard when it starts ruining the thing that you're working so hard on, which is building your own name for yourself to be somebody. Yeah. And like you said, right now, you can't even be in the place you want to be because you're so held back by being stressed and having anxiety, and you can't propel yourself. And that is like the worst feeling ever, because when you know your potential and you're not there, it's like the most painful thing. Oh, for sure. And then when you feel like someone's stealing that from you, that's disgusting.
Yeah, because you're trying to tap into the best version of you. And I'm trying to tap into the best version of me because I want to be able to provide myself with what I want, but also my future family. And I feel that she's holding me back, and it's like, how much longer are you going to try to like have this hold on me? That's exactly what she wants.
Forever, dude. Forever. That's the answer. You know, forever. That's a frightening answer, but it's true. Forever. Never let you go. You know, and a person that you're talking about hurt people hurt. I first of all, I do agree with that. But they're not trying to make themselves better in this instant. They're not out there getting help for all these issues that they have. They're not even recognizing that they have issues. They're fixating on you. And they have nothing else in their life except this one. I've always wondered what that would be. Like having one singular focus in life. You know, people that can use that positively, man, that's amazing. But these people that use it negatively, they fixate, man, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's like she's a cockroach that just like won't go away. I'm like,
so that's not funny,
but she's this pest, and you know, and I've had.
So they use that statement right there to call him an anti-Semite. You see how that came up in conversation? They picked out two random words and they were like, look, this man is an anti-Semite because he just said that. Like, when you looked at that, did you hear anything about Jewish people? Did you hear anything about Nazism or any type of hate? Or it's frustration speaking. You're speaking as a victim of somebody. And you're like, you look, they won't go away. They're this thing. And actually, maybe it's good he sees them as a cockroach too, because, you know, it also showcases that they're small. They may be very resilient because, you know, they're a pest and they never go away, but they are a pest.
I had those moments where I thought, I mean, again, I had her deposed. She ends up says she's sick or she can't make it. Then what does she do? She has her lawyer depose me because she just, whatever I do, she turns it around on me to act like, oh no, you're the guilty one. So I go to my deposition. She shows up. She just wanted to be in the same room as me. And at one point, I looked at her and I said, you've taken the one thing away from me that I actually care about, which is talking about mental health and helping people. I can't help people now. I can't use my voice for good because you've taken that from me. Yeah. I was like, just own up to it. I was like, grow up and like own up to it and stop doing what you're doing. And she just looked at me with a blank stare, not a single emotion. She just stared at me like as if she couldn't even hear the words come in my mouth, as if she spoke a different language. It was the coldest look I've ever seen. She didn't care at all. And when I walked out of there, I just thought, I should burn this person. I should fight fire with fire. Because at this point, you're not even feeling any type of reaction. You are so cold. So you become vengeful. And of course, I'm taking the high road and I haven't done that. But deep down, it's just, I'm like, man, nothing. Taking the high road, what is it doing? It's not, she's going to get away with it. It's just kind of hard. I guess it's just because I'm in this particular.
But you see, he isn't taking a low road in what he's saying. First of all, he's talking about being a human being. And somebody's stealing everything. They steal your joy. They take everything from you. It's a horrible place to be. I don't think he's really describing love, like fighting fire with fire. This is also one of the suck things where he's talking about court. He was doing everything right. And you look at what she did in court. And it finally all caught up with her. But look how long that took. Refusing HIPAA, not turning things over, lying again, avoiding. It's unreal. So I don't think he's taking a low road ever. When he's talking about, again, fighting fire with fire. A lot of times when you go out, people, they treat monsters like they would want to be treated. They protect them in a lot of ways. And they don't do it voluntarily, they just do it because we imagine people have lines in the sand, and you learn that those lines are self-imposed. Other people, they, for example, I've talked about people going after kids, you imagine other people won't go after children because you won't do that. Normal people don't do that, but somebody that is hell-bent on destroying a person, they'll do anything in their arsenal. So he's not talking about responding, fighting fire oh, well, I'm going to do something terrible like that. He's talking about respond. Well, yeah, you need to respond with the full force of freaking judicial system and with the blunt truth.
Situation. Normally I would agree that taking the high road is always the best way, but I'm right now the high road,
isn't getting
me anywhere.
I get it.
And if I just say, okay, I'm just going to move on with my life, she's not going to move on. And she's going to come waltzing back in and start talking about her TED Talks and how she was, this whole thing happened if I don't stop it. So it's just, I always feel like you can't use absolutes. There's always an exception. But I'm really trying hard to not stoop to that level because I really want to believe that the high road is always the best way. But it just doesn't feel like it.
No, not in this moment when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the podcast in just.
Give me a second. Just a second. I'm skipping over that.
So I know you're obviously going through a lot.
And again, you can see the show here. If you want to watch, you should, by the way. Note in the comments too, give them love. Note that if you want to, actually go on there. If you make a comment, people will see you cover their stuff. And I like to make sure that people go to that too. So go there, comment on that. Tell them that other people are seeing this, they're putting that out there. And that it's not people working on their own. We all are working together toward one thing too. You know, that's the beautiful thing I've liked with Dave Neal or Megan and other folks. Like, we're not out there running over people, chasing a story. We've been trying to chase justice. I've talked to Megan quite a bit behind the scenes, you know, in this stuff. Especially when we run across something difficult. Like, how much do you talk about? And this has been a really difficult subject. Like, with me talking about it, because, you know, these are subjects for I don't get pregnant. I can understand loss, but I can't understand the feeling of some of that loss at a level like a female can. So I've talked to a woman about it too. I've talked to a few women about that too, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, one of the things like I said, you know, when you're chasing justice, when you're trying to make sure everything gets out there, you look at him, he's conflicted. He's conflicted inside. She's done this to him. I say, I hope he's talking to somebody. Clayton, buddy, if you ever need help, I can refer you to sources. You know, again, I'm sure that you've got sources of your own, but you know, I work in community mental health, and we talk to a lot of different help groups out there. So if this guy does need help and he hasn't sought it out because he needs somebody to get this out of him, he needs somebody to talk to. And I'm not talking about myself here. I'm not saying, hey, hit me up. You need a person that is neutral in that. Because Clayton knows the answers that he needs too, but he needs to get a lot of this stuff out. I like that he does interviews. He gets some of it out there too, but he's a professional to help as well. Maybe a few professionals, you know, because this is awful. If this were reversed, we were talking about if Clayton were female, how would we handle this? Like, you really think about that. It wouldn't be take the high road and suffer in silence. And I think we're starting to get over that hurdle now that the judgment came out. But anyway.
But it sounds to me like you're still being very confident and strong.
Trying, yeah. Trying to.
So what are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think most days I have to just be present. That's the biggest thing I've been trying to focus on. So I think that's how you're able to be most happy, is when you just live moment to moment. And I've realized that whatever's meant to be will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't control what's coming down the pipeline, so I just have to focus on what I can control, which is just, you know, the milliseconds that, you know, every moment of every day. So now, you know, I've been diving into real estate. You know, I was doing it part-time last year, but then I really jumped in on the tail end of last year, beginning this year, to full-time real estate. So being involved in that, it's been awesome. I mean, I get to work with people every day, and it's relationship building, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I attract the energy that I am, so I attract a lot of clients that think in a similar manner, and I just get to kind of...
So 2 things you mentioned in that: forward thinking. You don't live in the past. You don't really even live in the present. You live in whatever is coming. So it's always forward thinking, and you build relationships. Because when you have this negative thing, this negative relationship, it makes you distrust everyone. You know, for a more introverted person, that's a hit. But for like he seems, you know, he's talked about his confidence issues and stuff like that. But he's still, I mean, you can see the outgoing person in there too, and you don't let someone rob that. And the only way you do that is to build positive relationships. That's good. That's good. He's found ways to handle things.
Not only do I get to still do sales, but I get to sell something that, I mean, I can believe in. Everyone can believe in it, right? It's a house. I mean, you form all these memories. And so it's super cool when you sell a house and they get excited. You get excited with them, right? You get to hand them the keys, and it's like you get to, in that moment, feel as if you've just purchased a new house, because you get to share those emotions. So
do you remember your first house you sold?
Yeah, of course. It was sweet because I mean, again, I remember it felt just like when I bought a house for myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you hand the keys and you know they're going to go run it into the house and open it up, and there's not going to be any furniture in the house, but they're going to be so grateful to just have a place that they can call their own. And they're going to start just having memories, and they might throw an air mattress down and that first night.
Yeah.
But they're sleeping as peacefully and as happily as they could.
Because
They're so proud of that purchase. And like, that's exactly what I did when I bought my first place back in 2015. And then when I sold my first, house last year, it was that same feeling. It was just like, I was like, oh my, like you could just feel the excitement. And so I love it. It's like I get to be able to basically buy a house every few months or even less every month, right? And get, it's just like, it's cool because now since I've been doing it full time now, it's like I get to experience this a lot, every couple weeks. And so I'm really grateful for that. And and just diving into that full speed. I still do speak on mental health, and I'm still wanting to ramp that back up. That'll come when the timing is right. So I know that I'm just continuing to work on myself and dive deeper. I journal every day. And so, understanding more of who I am is only going to help me for when I do go back out there and start speaking. I'll be able to talk about the things that I've been able to do to manage my stress, to be able to handle the anxiety, and to be able to push through. And so I'm still learning, and that's great, but just more than anything, really just diving full, head first into the real estate, into solar sales. I have an Airbnb, so I have been doing the short-term rental property management. Just having fun with it, trying new things and testing my limits and subjecting myself to stress, because I know that growth only comes through the discomfort. So that's what I'm doing today, is just cranking those things out.
I love it. And I love seeing like your positive energy on social media and you getting into your dancing and stuff.
Growth only comes with the discomfort. That's a very positive way of putting things too. You can grow through that.
I am learning just to dance. I mean, I don't have any overarching goal. I always get people that are like, oh, you're just trying to be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, I would go if they asked me.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it for that. I mean, at this point, I've missed 2 seasons of it. So I'm like, if you thought I was going to keep dancing for the show, I mean, why am I still doing it?
Yeah.
I've been passed up. So.
I mean, you're an ex-athlete. You're just someone who probably loves a new challenge all the time. So
it's just me versus me, and when I'm looking in the mirror, dancing, and
it's a healthy outlet. Moving your body. Outlet. It's so good for you.
It's very, very, very good. It's very therapeutic. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll keep doing it because it does more. It's more than just dance. It's like, it's not just dance. It's a lifestyle. It is life-changing. And so I'll keep dancing. I might not post as much as I used to about it. I mean, I think I went through a stage where I was posting because I wanted to show people that, this is truly something that's making me happy, and I don't care what the criticism says online. Mm-hmm. If you do what makes you happy, doing what makes you happy will ultimately feel greater than the negativity that comes with to doing something different.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show people like, hey, eventually the naysayers shut up. Eventually they stop. Eventually they give up. And they have for the most part. I mean, I've had a few videos go pretty viral, so it subjects me to a new audience. But you look at my comments, like the naysayers they're fading away slowly because they've lost. I mean, again, I'll let my ego talk for a second. I mean, I was kind of at some point I was posting because I'm like, I'm gonna shut you all up.
Yeah.
Because see, okay, that is a very good thing that he's talking about there, because he was saying, he's posting to show people that he's happy, but he's not really posting about being happy. He's posting for other people. He wasn't posting for self. He wasn't doing for self. He was doing it to shut other people up. Now he's talking about focusing on that. He's also talking about, this stuff finally dying down. I think a lot of it, he's always going to have, he's moved away from the bachelor stage, on the other end of this too. This will redefine who Clayton Echard is. It already has to audiences. He's gone from that guy in The Bachelor, again, with all the baggage that came with that specific image. And when he was showing more, recreating, he had all this other stuff aimed at him. You know, you can look through it. I actually was fascinated by that. So I was looking through, you know, the development of him as he goes forward, you know, commentary with stuff. And what you notice is this growth through discomfort, as he said. You know, you also stop valuing the negative. You know, when you're trying to disprove them, you're validating those negative people. Now, sometimes if you want to go out and brick one of them online, I mean, I enjoy that every now and then. I like to take the e-brick to the face, you know? I mean, that feels good. You know, own somebody on Twitter. But really, I think his approach now is much better. It's much more healthy.
Because you're going to realize that like you've chosen the wrong person to try to stop. And I, once again, will rise above and overcome all this adversity. For all of you that want me, you know, praying on my downfall, you should, you know, you had that chance months ago, you know, and it's that point is past.
Right.
So you're going to be praying for a lifetime. So like, good luck.
Well, they wanted you to stop and you didn't. So they lost because. So
they lost. Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like at the end of the day, I mean, someone will hear this and they'll try to jump back on. I'm gonna get through to them. You won't. You can't at this point. Like, I will no longer be shoved into a corner and told this is the way that you should be, you know, and this is giving me a secondhand embarrassment. Good. Like, please voice that. Please voice that, because all I do is I push those individuals farther away.
Yeah. And it gets you more views. So, you know.
And it's like, you know, I had someone say, I think he has a fetish for like, you know, a shame for what they call it, like I don't know, some type of fetish for like getting negative attention. And I was like, no, what I have a fetish for is watching you all squirm and get upset at a man dancing.
It really is comical when people waste their energy.
Like, you're getting upset at a man dancing, enjoying a hobby. What does that say about how miserable you are? I mean, I hate to say it, but like maybe one day that your eyes will open and you'll realize like, I'm actually really getting bothered by someone that's enjoying their life. What does that say about me?
Right.
Now, most of them their eyes are still closed and they still get that. I try to talk to them and they say, no, I think
that put in, I think everything he's been through probably put a lot of that into perspective too. Like if people are upset about, you know, wouldn't you have somebody that truly practiced life ruination? And if you think like the Laura Owens stuff, if it would have went a different way, and it very well could have gone that different way, how that would have come out. It really puts things into perspective. You know, random person out here hating on you, or random people, who gives a crap about them? Well, that'll make you stronger.
You know, it's not that you suck at dancing. It's cringy. It's embarrassing. Stop. I'm like, it's cringy to you. To you. Please let that sink in. It's not cringy to me. Oh, it's cringy to all of us. Yeah, all of you. And the vast majority of you are miserable. So do you want to be like the vast majority of people that are miserable? Or do you want to be a part of the minority? Because the most people aren't happy. They're just not in this society. Mm-hmm. The reality is who do you want to be a part of? The herd that's miserable? Or do you want to be a part of the group of people that is genuinely loving their lives and doing things that they want to do? Because that's where I'm at. Because I just push through it all. So again, people think that like, it's a numbers. I have more people around me. You do. You do. You have more people that have your back and think that this is cringy. And you guys will continue to be miserable until you finally decide to branch off from it. So good luck. And hopefully my videos might get you to finally realize that and open your eyes and be like, oh my gosh, like just because everyone else thinks the way that I do, that's not a good thing.
Right.
The vast majority of people do not think correctly.
No.
So I don't know about you, but that's why I stopped being that way. And that's why I'm doing, forging my own path. And that's why you're forging your own path. And there will always be the naysayers, and guess what? They will be complaining until the day that they die, and they'll be on their deathbed one day, and they're like, I wish I would have cared less about what people think, because that's what every, person that I talk to that's lived their life, a lot of, go ask your grandparents, go ask the elderly, ask them, if you could go back and do it again, what would you do differently? They'd say, I wish I would have cared less about what people thought and done what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all of you all that are judging me right now, you're all on that path. So
they're just jealous because you're being unique and you're being yourself and you're actually being authentic, and they don't even know what that looks like or feels like.
They don't, because they're not.
No.
So
they're followers,
and they don't like seeing it because it reminds them that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so their ego steps up and says, no, he's just weird. He's that's embarrassing. The reality is, it's like, no, the ego, if they could push it aside for a split second, they'd realize that, like, wait, I don't even like the life I live. I want to be like that. I wish I could have, his bravery, his confidence, but I don't have a fraction of it. So, and I know I don't, and it would take a lot of effort for me to acquire it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and attack him. That's easier.
Yeah. I seriously feel like if we could like chalk this whole like episode up into like one thing, it would be that like just when people are being negative and bullying you, it's quite literally just a projection of their own inner insecurities. And yet at the same time, like it's so impactful what people can do with their words. And so why can't we just be spreading positivity? You could be like, people are literally ruining each other's lives and bashing people to the ground just because they like drama and they like being negative, and it's just really gross.
Because at the end of the day, we as humans often take the easiest route out.
Yeah.
And negativity is a lot easier than being positive.
Yeah.
It takes an effort to be positive. It does not take effort to be negative. That's just the way that we're wired. I don't really know why entirely, but it's just really easy to be mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so people choose the easy route because they're not, honestly, they're just lazy. Mm-hmm. And for them to have to actually take the time to reflect and to grow, they'd have to face, their biggest insecurities. And that's scary to a lot of people. It is. But they're just like, oh, that's no, I don't want to open that door. So they just live in the same.
Usually we have, one of the things I liked about this interview is usually we have a lot of this stuff mentioned, and we only get like a tiny sliver of what's going on in the man's life, because he hasn't been able to talk about what happened in the court case. He hasn't been able to talk about any of that. With this, he spent a lot of time, and then this branched off to how are you handling things? What are you doing now? And that's been a good conversation.
Same room their entire life and never go explore and never dive deeper. And then they live a life in their entire life just wishing that, they could be something that they'll never be because they can never take the first step, which is awareness. So it's sad. I hope that, talking about this stuff opens people up. And
me too.
That's kind of the whole goal.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful. I'm so thankful that we could talk today and that you could share all of this. I'm on your team. I support you. I really am going to be sending up prayers on June 10th for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're going to get the word out because what's happening to you.
So you see, again, this was uploaded. This was talked about. This came up. Let me see. Let me bring this up. Yeah, this came up 3 days ago, with that. So you had him able, he's talking about everything. They were talking about what went on with the case. But 3 days ago, we have this, again, uploaded on the Not Ashamed podcast. And like I said, it was good. Unfortunately, one of the downsides to it is the fact that it only has 2,600 hits so far. So again, Not Ashamed podcast. If somebody want to link that, I'm actually going to make a comment myself right now. Great interview props. Let's see. I'll put a comment there too. But if you help circulate that, it helps get that story out. Another aspect came up today too. There's one other thing I want to talk about today. I thought this was actually really important as well. Megan just dropped this. I hope that mods, everyone else, you will link this as well. Give me 1 second here. I had to pull this up on a different browser so I can see it easier. 1 minute. Exclusive interview. Second victim of bachelor accusers speaks out. Now, this is the other part that is being lost in any other media. You have like Megan's covering again. When I say this, I don't want to leave anyone out. So I'm not trying to just say, oh, one person or a couple people. Let me move this over here. I'm not saying a couple of people are just covering it, but the mainstream especially isn't picking up on this other portion of it. That's the fact that Laura Owens had more victims. There were other folks. They didn't get to speak, which was also if they would have spoken in the courtroom, I think that would have given this more to reflect on. You know, if you have a video snippet or an interview, I am going to, by the way, go through the interview with Megan Fox that she did. I talked to her about it. I told her I'd give it a little time to, you know, settle there, like so people could see it. And you should go watch that interview. But she did a very good interview. You have one prior person that has been able to speak up, and another that is afraid to speak because they're afraid of what Laura Owens will actually do to them. And remember, if you think that she won't do something, she won't react negatively. Remember, they tried to have Mike Mancini arrested. I mean, they tried to in court. But Megan just dropped this. Exclusive interviews. Second victim of the Bachelor false accuser speaks out. Laura Owens, the woman who a Maricopa County, Arizona judge declared as quote-unquote uncredible and who admitted to fabricating evidence, who filed a paternity suit against former Bachelor Clayton Echard in quote-unquote bad faith, has taken to Medium to complain endlessly about the unfair treatment she is receiving from the public. Despite having a lawyer who doesn't appear to have counseled her to remain silent while she's under investigation by the county's Office for Perjury and Evidence Tampering. Remember, those are the two things being brought forward: perjury, evidence tampering. And by the way, when you mention the lawyer, no, he didn't counsel her to do anything, it seems like, because he himself is out there. She's miming his talking points. See me, I'm getting a drink there. I've been drinking water. Oh, by the way, I've been walking again. Do any of you, here's a random thing, do any of you pace while you talk on the phone or anything? I had a bunch of phone conversations I had to have today, and I was curious, like how much pacing I do while I'm on the phone. So I go out every morning, or try to, and I walk at least 2 miles. I try to get in, you know, your 5 miles for the day throughout it. But I went 2 miles, about 6,000 steps. So I've been on the phone and everything, and I carried my, I turned on the pedometer with it to count all the steps. Lord, I walked more on the phone than I did outside walking. You know, I like to go outside. The time passes faster than trying to do something inside. But I was like, my Lord, I walked 7,000 steps inside while I was pacing on the phones. On a phone call, phones, I said. Phone, but on different phone calls. This is crazy. Anyway, it's random there. But Owens is talking to anyone who will listen and trying to convince them convince the world that she is the victim and not the 3 men who were dragged through court and made to believe they fathered twins with her. And that is a big point too. The fathering of not just children, but twins specifically. In fact, Owens, who perjured herself boldly under oath in front of at least 3 judges, continues to tell lies about the men she targeted for public destruction. One of them, Mike Mancini, has been suffering under the weight of Owens' false allegations for almost 10 years. I mean, again, you know, when Clayton talks about this, like we've seen 11 months play out. You know, we can go through and we can look at that in real time. If you think about where you pick, I didn't pick up through the whole thing, by the way. Not saying that I did, but if I can go back and see where this started and I can track where I got in, it seems like an eternity, right? I mean, this has been going on for him forever. Well, think about like Mancini, 10 years, man. 10 years of this. He dated Owens for about 2 years when they both lived in San Francisco area in 2015. Owens ended up making a TED Talk about the alleged abuse that she says she suffered while dating Mancini. I am really tempted. You know, I've never watched that live, but I did watch it. I am very tempted one day to go through it before they finally succumb to public pressure. You really talk about what's there. Mancini, though, he tells a much different story. He sat down with me after Judge Matta's ruling came out to talk about what his life had been like and how the ruling affected him. He said, quote, "Yesterday was pretty surreal. I would say it was a bittersweet moment for us. I woke up in bed to Clayton's text. Mancini woke up his wife and read the good news to her. So this was when the decision came in. My wife was still sleeping, and I woke her up, and we both started crying. And to be honest with you, it was a lot of tears of joy. It's sad, man. Mancini still has an open restraining order against him that was filed by Owens, who keeps renewing it, claiming to be in danger. She presented no evidence that Mancini is a dangerous man, other than wild tales, and the judge believed her. And again, we've gone through all of the accusations there. Her own words. Again, if you look at it, he leaves her. He moves on. He's got another person, but his sister lives in the area where she does. When he's out with other people, he's out doing whatever, she starts claiming in the aftermath he was stalking her. She finds out the name of the woman that he's around. She contacts this woman. Mancini responds by calling the police, talking about stalking, and according to Laura Owens, again, she says the police asked her about her accusations and told her that she should get a restraining order. Like, really drink that in, what I just said there. Her accusations are insane. Plus, she put up in one of those Medium articles what she says is a message from the woman she contacted. And she's saying that the woman pretty much fully believed her and also asked that she not be brought up in any more of this stuff. You know, to leave her out of it, she would appreciate that. But Laura Owens brings her up into it anyway. So, Justice is finally pulled through, he continued. I feel like the first domino fell. So it was a moment where I felt vindicated from the ruling yesterday. But at the end of the day, it was great for us three guys to be able to come together and get that ruling because that's what we were hoping for. The third man is Greg Gillespie, who Owens accused of abortion coercion. Like, that's wild, by the way. That's something you hear about with doctors. You know, you coerced me into doing this. No, that she used that as a talking point against him. I mean, that's way out in the weeds. Way out in the weeds. By the way, is the Tilted Lawyer? I saw somebody tag him. Tilted Lawyer, what's up, man? I like your coverage, by the way. I actually like your voice. I like your voice, like listening to it. It's good. It's good to listen to, man. But I enjoy your coverage. We'll have to do something one day. I think that would be. I always love the legal perspective, but I don't know. I like your energy bring too. But she accused of abortion coercion after he refused to comply with her demands to date her in exchange for an abortion of alleged twins. Owens always sticks on the same pregnancy tale. It's always twins and a relationship that can secure an abortion. Rejecting her offer of a relationship condemns her mark for an endless malicious litigation and harassment. And I mean, that is so wild. Again, you can't even process the idea that you will comply with this dating contract or else. Mancini's case, Owens didn't accuse him of DV and ARP until after he had broken up with her. And what he thought it was going to be a fair split. I mean, you look at it. He thought he was going his way, thought she was going her way. And why would you think this is going to go that way, right? But after navigating through a very stressful fake pregnancy with twins and abortion drama, after seeing Mancini with a new girlfriend, he says that Owens began stalking him and then went to a judge and accused him of violently choking her into unconsciousness and ARPing her while they were together. I asked him directly if any of that was true. No, of course not, he said. It's completely fabricated. I mean, everybody's asked me that. My family's asked me. My wife has asked me at times because Owens is so convincing. But no, I would never do that. I grew up with all women. And that's why the relationship I felt dragged out for so long. I was trying to be kind. I was always trying to be there emotionally for her. But no, I would never get to that point. There were times when I was definitely frustrated. Of course. I mean, you're going to get frustrated. You can see that in texts. For sure. You know, frustration. It's so bizarre to take a regular human emotion and people conflate it to these horrible extremes. That happens a lot, though. You know, it does. But he says, you know, there are times, yeah, I was frustrated. Who wouldn't be? But he adds, I was never emotionally abusive or physically abusive. I was always trying my best to make sure that the individual didn't hurt themselves. Like Echard testified in court, Owens also threatened to commit suicide multiple times while she was dating him. Those threats kept him in the relationship longer than he wanted to be there. Quote, I would talk to my family about it. And they were kind of naive as well. And they would think, I can't imagine why somebody would lie about those things. So try to stick with her. And it finally got to the point, like the stories just weren't making sense. And that's why a lot of people, you know, again, like I was saying before, people imagine this line in the sand with behavior. We imagine people won't cross specific boundaries because you wouldn't do it. But those are self-imposed. I work with very mentally ill people too. And you expect, okay, if I describe behavior from an extremely schizophrenic person, for example, they're like, oh, well, you can't even agree on what reality is. Now, she may be very mentally ill too. I mean, you have to be in some way. That's not an excuse. But you think about that. And most people see this behavior again. There's also the manipulative part. It works. I'm going to leave you. Well, I'm pregnant with twins, by the way. You know, that, or I'm going to hurt myself if, and that gets people to stay in terrible situations. And it's also used as a weapon in the aftermath, too. Oh, he didn't support me when. But Maranchini described his relationship with Owens as, quote, constant conflict and chaos. Text messages extracted by a forensic expert show a pattern of Owens using medical emergencies to keep him in the relationship. A few months after the two began dating, Owens claimed to be pregnant with twins. She then made and canceled multiple appointments for an abortion while berating him for not being a good, quote-unquote, teammate. After Owens said she went for the abortion, she then claimed it didn't work and one of the babies survived, putting him through many more months of the same nightmare, made and canceled appointments. I mean, that's insane. Then, the story of ovarian cancer, it enters the saga. She claimed she had an ovary removed due to cancer. She provided him with letters she claimed were from a doctor that told her her boyfriend needed to be supportive. Now, during Echard's legal case, Owens claims those records weren't real and didn't come from her. The forensic analysis shows otherwise. Owens now claims she had both ovaries, never had that, but he remembers it much differently in the text messages. And you can see where we had gone over that in the stream, when that was brought up. Now, Owens is the daughter of famed San Francisco radio talk show host Ron Owens, who left the air after Parkinson's diagnosis many years ago. He recently accused Clayton Echard of anti-Semitism for calling his daughter a quote-unquote a pest and quote-unquote like a cockroach. The claim of Jewish heritage comes as a surprise to many who have followed the Owens family. And this was brought up. She was, saying this, and I don't even think we need to go as far as she did, but she showed, when you look at her, again, name change, people that celebrate Christmas and everything, you wouldn't know, like, well, how would Clayton even know that, first of all? So it's a ridiculous claim, but it's ridiculous beyond that. Because again, if he's claiming that people that call other folks cockroaches, they're anti-Semitic, well, yeah, that's a finger that points right at Laura and her legal team. Because we were all cockroaches with breadstick money, right? So Laura is documented to have attended Catholic school and made many references to Christianity in her text messages to all 3 victims. Documents from her horse riding competition revealed she asked for Christmas off, but not Hanukkah. The Owens family may be Jewish, but the people who know them didn't know about it. That would call into question how Echard would know if family friends didn't actually know. Ron Owens was involved in Mancini's relationship with his daughter too. In a disturbing set of text messages between the ex-radio host and Mike Mancini, Owens begs his daughter's boyfriend to save her from self-harm in a manipulative exchange. And if people haven't seen this exchange, when you look at that, and it does mention, interestingly, the supposed concussion that happened and everything else. But hey, respond. Can you please talk to her? You've got to. Promise her. Listen to this. Think about how manipulative this statement is. She wants to keep her alive, and I promise to help you get out of it as soon as she's safe. He's telling her above here to tell her anything. Tell her anything she wants to hear. While we're trying to keep her alive. I promise as soon as you're out of that, as soon as that's up there, I'll help you get out of that. Like, that is crazy when you think about it. But he's like, please, now. And you see the response. He's like, sends me voicemail. So we're now telling her that by text, done. Please remember her concussion last week. And between that and the pill, she's not herself. And the response, no excuses for these types of actions. I told her what she needed to hear, and I'm going to go rejoin my family back in the hospital. He's going through crisis moments. He has his own horrible things going on here in his own life. And during all of it, he's having to step away from his own family. And he's having to deal with this. These are things you can never get back. You can never make right. You can never make good. Like, oh, we're desperate to get a hold of her. Nothing yet. She says you were talking. Can you please respond to her? We need her back. Again, they're putting all of the weight on him. He has to. And again, he's dealing with something else. That's a terrible relationship, by the way. Because when you need support, that support's not there for you. You're out there being told, you uplift this person or else. It's so awful. But Laura's consistent threats of self-harm throughout the relationship with Mancini took a toll on him and kept him in an unhappy relationship for far longer than he wanted. I remember, even at Christmas 2016, when she was threatening to harm herself, she was talking about how this was going to be her last holiday with her dad and to please be around. And I'm obviously dealing with my dying stepdad, who ended up passing away a few months after that. I just remember she was always trying to dangle some emotional carrot to try to get me hooked back in. And it was really challenging thinking back on it. Yeah, there's horrible things to think back on. Again, he's dealing with the loss of a family member, watching them. And in that, he's having to step away. He's having that emotionally, it's so manipulative, but you can never get that back. After the relationship with Owens ended, Mancini says Laura began showing up everywhere he went. He became concerned and called the police. But before he could get an order of no contact, Owens filed for a restraining order against him, alleging horrific acts of violence. Among the allegations, choking her into consciousness, according to her TED Talk, gave her epilepsy. But in the text messages to Mancini, Owens claimed she had her first seizure May 2017. She believed it was due to a car crash. And this is pointed out. You have where her talking about it, you can actually see. And you can look all of this up, and I would definitely refer you again to the article. If people could put up links to the article, we can get this thing trending. And that's very important, like I said. You have a lot of articles about this subject, which is good. But what you need are articles that are out there that tell the entirety of this, and they don't just focus on this like it's some paternity drama. See, that's one of the nasty things about media in this too. They cover it like it's some paternity issue, and not there anymore, therefore. No, it's so much more. PJ Media reached out to Ted for comment, but received no response at the time of publishing. Owens' allegations against Mancini and the restraining order she obtained, what Mancini says was under false pretenses, has affected him in incalculable ways. It was during the height of the Me Too movement. My attorney was like, listen, it's very easy. They just hand out restraining orders like hotcakes to anyone. You're never going to win this. And what I think the goal should be is to have her go away in 2 years and just hope that she finds happiness in another person and forgets about you. And that's originally what my game plan was. And at that time, you have to think how society was at that time. An allegation, if you end up getting picked up in the press, again, her father and everything else, it very much could have, God knows what could have been picked up in that. You just hope that it goes away. And it didn't, of course, because this person, you see how they deal with rejection. He says he regrets not fighting harder against the restraining order now. Obviously, that was a bad move. And Greg Gillespie, another victim, also learned that just being on the defensive is not a way to go about this. Clayton had the right to be on the offensive. Again, this is where we get into talks about the high road. Some people that want to take, they define again the high road is inaction. You can't take, there can't be inaction. You have to take some action because, man, abusers abuse. That's what they do. Might get a hard time getting and keeping jobs, and the restraining order was granted. I remember being pulled into HR almost immediately after the restraining order was filed in 2018. They said they were called, and things were being brought up that were disturbing. So I was pulled into a room. I was let go a couple of months after that. I think that was the initial cause because it was not performance lacking or anything like that. But they also said multiple people had called in. So I assume it was her and her family that had called into my company. Maybe it was the same person, by the way. And maybe it was the same person saying that they were multiple people. But her family and stuff, enabling that, it's wild, isn't it? Owens tried harassing him by showing up in person at his work as well. I then asked my company to have her banned from the building. He believes he was passed over from many jobs due to the restraining order, calling him a domestic abuser. Of course. It's really hard to prove. But when you go through the job interview process, you get to the point of meeting with the hiring managers, and you get to the point of reference checks, and that's really where they reach out to your old managers, old colleagues, and also do a background check at the same time. I would go to the reference check, and then I wouldn't get a call back. It got to the point where I couldn't apply to big companies because their background checks were too thorough. I had to go for the smaller companies. I'll never get a job at the big companies because of this, and that's painful because I got to the final round with some of the largest companies in the world for dream positions, and I never got them. The emotional toll, that was great for him. You could imagine. I mean, that would be so heavy to carry. It was really, really difficult. I used to cry quite a bit, and I don't want to cry here. But I used to think my life was ruined because of it. And luckily, I've come out of that. But it affects me to this day when applying for jobs. I think the words here, it still affects me to this day. Period. Not for jobs or anything else. I mean, this is the first time the man could talk about this and actually be believed. You think about that. How many years did this go on before people would listen to this and be like, wait a minute. You see what happened to these other people? Many other people. But he says when applying, I still hold my breath until the background check clears. Owens continues to renew the restraining order against him when it comes up, even though they live in different states and have never contacted him in years. Quote, "It is incredible, and it feels like the judge does not listen to you say, hey, I live in a totally different state than she does. I'm nowhere near her. I have no desire to contact with her, and this is affecting my ability to care for my family." He tried to tell the judge who presided over the restraining order renewal that he isn't threatened to Owens, but the judge renewed it anyway based on her feeling threatened. What does a woman in Arizona need a restraining order for a man in California for? Asked him. Now, typically, I'm not saying, there are many instances where people do need these things. But again, just like so many other things that we've discussed within the confines of this case, this makes you question a lot of things that goes on. I mean, again, there are monstrous people out there that do monstrous things. And feeling threatened can be very credible. But then you have somebody like this wielding that like a bludgeon. And again, we'll go over this in its own live stream. It's long, but it's good. But you need to check this out on your own. Because, I pause, I'll comment on stuff. But it's emotional, too. And there were certain parts of that I thought, my God. But during the renewal hearing, Owens claimed that Mancini showed up at her gym and violated the order by being there. He had evidence that he wasn't even in the city, and she claimed he was. I brought the log of the gym showing I was not there. I was in a different city, thinking to myself, this is a layup. This is our only piece of evidence that I violated a restraining order. I'm going to crush this. And the judge said he couldn't care less. All Owens had to say was feel threatened, and she was granted a renewal for 5 more years, despite the evidence the story was false. The restraining order is still in effect today. This is a serious problem in our court system where women don't need to show any evidence of actual threats to get a restraining order against men they wish to do harm. While judges should be careful to protect women in danger, they should protect anyone in danger. To be honest, when you look at this situation, it sounds like a restraining order. Yeah, somebody should be carrying a restraining order. But Mancini, But they should do a better job of looking at evidence before just believing every woman who presents a sob story. Restraining orders have lifelong consequences, shall be used in serious situation where somebody is in actual danger. And there's the full interview there. Now, I'm going to cover Super Jets now, but we're going to go through that another day, like I said, but we won't go through all of that today. I mean, it's too much for one live stream. So, Cindy, thanks for the 2. Candy for Kiddos, not promoting sugar addiction. LOL. Indeed, indeed. It's funny. I was talking to my youngest. And I was talking about oldest and my youngest. I was talking about the 4th of July, because fireworks are insanely expensive. And we have, our neighbors are, oh, Lord, they will put on a show and a half. But I was telling my kids, I was like, do you want to get a lot of fireworks? They were like, yeah. I was like, well, how about this? Instead of, we can go and pick out specific fireworks you want to see, ones you'll enjoy. But we can the neighbors will allow them to, be part of it, have fun with everything too. Our neighbors are great people, but I asked the kids, hey, what about like if you had some of the money there, like I give you some of that money and you could spend it on things like books, things that last, well, promote reading and education, or we can blow up some fireworks. My littlest is like, fireworks and books. My oldest is like, oh yeah, money for sure. It's just funny, like when you say that. So yeah, I get you. Thank you. K-Rap, thanks for Vibe. Curious if anyone has noticed if her vocal fry turns off and on. A body language person suggested the vocal fry may indicate deceit. That's interesting. I don't know. I think it also indicates where they're from, though. When you listen to people that are from the San Francisco area, you have a lot of just total, It's weird. Like you get that southern, we have so much allergy and stuff that your voice, like I got a little bit of gravel that comes up, but these people that add it on all the time, it's so bizarre. But yeah, to see that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I've never looked at it in terms of deceitfulness either. I think it's habit. Yeah, thanks, fine. Enjoy listening to you on my drive home after a crazy day. Well, hey, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you tuned in. Appreciate you. I hope you have a great weekend, too. Jack's mom, thanks for the 2. Maybe now that NBC has it, they'll take the TED Talk down. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's not just them. They have to take it off the YouTube thing. So, I mean, we'll see with that. Fair for all. Thanks for the 10 there. Thanks, Doug. Hey, thank you. Appreciate you. Kitty Meow. Thanks for the 5. So glad I found the Pond Scum Posse. Best entertainment on the tube. Well, thank you. Yes, there's many great people out there. I have to give my shouts to Jeff as well. I like Vices, Legal Vices. You should check him out. He does great coverage for stuff. There's so many people. Again, I leave people out, and I don't intend to. There are a lot of very good folks. A lot of folks that own microphones, too. There are a lot of people that found things, brought them up. Again, Clayton's Justice on Twitter. Reddit has done a fabulous job of pulling up so much evidence. I mean, just there's so many pieces that have worked together. It's been amazing. Cindy, thanks for the 2. She's going to be my age. 56 tomorrow. Hey, happy early birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to you. And lonely. Yes, and that's... It's a sad thing when you look at her relationships. She tries to force people into relationships with her. She doesn't build relationships. And if she's turned down and rejected, you see how she handles rejection. It is a sad, lonely, bitter thing. And I don't think it'll get better anytime soon. I think, in fact, it'll get worse. What's up, John? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for the 20 there. I understand that you strive to be apolitical and hate politics, but I often wonder why you didn't cover someone like E. Jean Carroll or Stormy in the way you cover these awful gold diggers. Parallels exist. Politics is such a one of the problems I have when I get into politics, like for example, I couldn't avoid the train wreck last night. I meant to, very much meant to, not look at the political talks, but it makes me angry on many levels. Makes me very angry on many levels. And when we get into this stuff too, one of the things in a lot of the cases we cover, they don't have anyone, like media-wise, media press, they don't have anybody that puts out that side of the story. Like when you look at Clayton Echard, look at how that was covered. You don't have like a political one side versus the other. You had just her side coming out, and even when his side came out with something, it was shut down. Some of these places took it down. The Depp thing was fascinating because, again, when we looked at that, you know, you had the media putting out all these accusations. They would not cover documents that came up and refuted this stuff. Now, I'd also say one of the things, like for myself, it's hard for me to invest in multiple things at one time. Like for me, again, you know, I fight this urge to pick up quote unquote stories. I find a lot of things fascinating and talk about them. But my issue, when I look at that human element, I fight the urge, again, to, like most people, when we flip the page so easily. So for me, oftentimes I'm investing in one or two things. But yeah, that doesn't mean that other items don't exist. And props to people that cover that and dig into it and find the truth, whatever the truth is there, you know? I mean, we looked at like Shia LaBeouf, for example. Like when you dig into that, I bring this up because I saw some clips. Oh, just a second, I got a kid coming down. 1 second.
Since he's gonna take it, kill me, but I want this bad popsicle.
You want this?
Yeah, what? But I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, this is grape.
My favorite.
Now, don't spill it, okay?
Grape is good too, and strawberry.
Strawberry?
Yeah, I
The
like
strawberry
strawberry.
one's good. Now, be careful with it. Do not spill it. Don't put it here. Be careful when you walk through, okay?
Okay.
All right, be very careful.
I love you, Dada.
I love you too, kiddo.
I will see you in the morning.
In the morning, okay.
In the morning or night.
It's night right now. It's 8:30. We'll watch a cartoon in a little bit. How's that sound?
BPY.
We'll see. We'll see what we watch. Okay, we'll watch them in a few minutes. Okay.
I want Pennywise.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about what we watch. Okay. Love you.
I want Pennywise.
Pennywise, I swear. Cunnilinguist. All right, the door's shut. Thanks for the 2. Has she violated his age with every post? Yeah, but I mean, that's a problem with so much of this stuff. Accountability. You know, there's violations and there's people that hold people accountable for violations. And oftentimes, you know what? They look at, you know, one of the problems with a lot of this stuff is this life-ruining stuff is seen as a small issue. It is a small issue to the people who go through it. You know? I mean, it's a huge life-destroying thing. But you know, prosecutors don't like to prosecute. They don't like to actually have to do the job they're there for. They like deals. You know, they don't. They have to run. You know, you're talking about elected officials, and elected officials, they always run on these platforms where they talk about issues and they show their success rate, but most of the time their success rate is based on getting deals. It's not actually about convicting anyone. So, you know, they ignore a lot of what they consider minor violations. And unfortunately, those minor violations, if they end up escalating, they turn into dangerous situations. They could be very well prevented for men, women, all types of people out there. It's a sad reality. But yeah, you're right. Sheila, thanks for the 2 there. Check out Tyler Hall's interview with Clayton. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. I haven't seen that. Yell and Ted collab would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be fun, man. Tilted Lawyer, I like him. Like I said, I like his coverage. I like the depth he goes to. You know, his the way that he does it. He presents these giant pieces at one time. I would say, well, if the aim is also to build channel building, that about 2 hours is the point that you really want to aim for. 4, it's great. I like listening to it because it's like long drives and stuff. But the algorithm punishes you for it too. That's a talk for behind the scenes one day. We can talk about that. But yes, I would love to sit down, talk about not just this, but really just cases that are seen and everything. But like when Tug used to do collabs with Nate, Nick, etc. Yeah, I've been this year. I get into a comfort zone. Like it's so strange to say when you have a microphone shoved in your face and you talk to hundreds to thousands of people, depending. But for myself, I'm an introverted person. Like I don't go out and mingle all the time with folks like that. But I enjoy it. So yeah, for sure, we have to do that. And Chris Jenner, thanks for the 2. The media needs to treat Laura like Fiona Harvey. The media needs to look at this story and to understand that, again, it's not just a story. It impacted not just life, singular. It impacted lives, plural. And there were many people that were impacted. One of the things that gave them clearance to talk about it was the fact that you didn't just have a judge come in and say, this stuff was a problem. The judge came in and said that it was actionable. There could be accountability. So yeah, the media need to go further with it. They've been given the green light to cover it and to doubt anything that Laura has ever said or alleged. But anyway, I'm going to call it here today. I think it's a good place. I appreciate y'all, you folks. This is a crazy thing. I think what we need to do is, again, we need to look at the other people that were involved. We need to delve into their cases too. And we need to start covering the documentation that was there. Again, it is all one big thing. And in the aftermath, when this was referred to prosecution or potential prosecution, we should talk about what could come after that. But that is a talk for another day. Anyway, I appreciate you. We're going to song this sucker out. So, thank you, folks.
This ain't a battle, baby, it's a walk by. Showering verbal rounds on those tiny clowns and laughing as they cry. I'm no longer taking what they're giving, cause they'll leave press on life, baby, that just ain't worth living. We aren't gaining, we're at war, with points of order worth fighting for. Gaining inches in this battle of attrition, as case by case we pass the ammunition. Hope that umbrella guy back with this communion. Mic check, mic wreck, it's audible reunion. Syllable call-outs wrapped up in this song. Nuclear fallout after dropping this mic bomb. We're not snatching chains, baby, now we're snatching souls. They crossed this verbal bridge, now they're paying my tolls. The media's flatline, there's no more resolutions. No forgive and forget, this pope ain't granting absolution. It's that umbrella guy pointing at the wrecked, laughing in their face as they keep demanding we respect. Our so-called social betters erasing all your gains. Listen and believe, wants to keep us in chains. It's that umbrella guy, declaring war on all the haters, dropping meteors on those dinosaurs, and bombing all the craters. A life in chains isn't worth living, and hope that umbrella guy ain't about forgetting about you who wanted the race, the deception and the lies, the wolves in disguise. Now you're back to the drive-thru, but you already knew that like your mic skills, your time was limited. Now you're bankrupt, screeching is prohibited. So can I get that combo meal with a side of verbal fry? Cause tonight, baby, we're blasting the mic with the ice now walk by. Supersize in the rage from this platinum grill, feasting on our anger, nah, this ain't a happy meal.